I was browsing eBay the other day and I was looking at completed listings and I noticed this weird phenomenon. These 1/6 scale ARC Trooper figures sell for hundreds if not thousands of dollars. What's going on here? So I came to the natural conclusion, I'm cheap, why don't we build our own? And by build your own, I mean we start from this pile of liquid, throw in a cheesy $10 body and some fabric, and hope for the best. To keep things legit, I'm gonna show them to a professional toy grader and get their feedback. So ARC Troopers are like super powerful, super powered, awe-inspiring, destroying, or maybe just better than the average clone. And this clone trooper gets choked out. Look, it's Jada Pinkett Smith. Will's not gonna be happy about this one. Get ready for those slaps. For my figure, I'm gonna create one of these concept art ARC Troopers. He's a little hard to make with all the little parts that he has and all the little parts that it takes to make a ARC Trooper. Making a 1/6 scale figure needs to start with the base body. Ah, it's naked. And then you add all these parts on top. Chest plates, hair, Michael Jackson, who cares? So the first problem we need to solve is how are we going to get these parts? So being the resourceful person that I am, I went to CG Trader and I downloaded some. So this is the exact model that I downloaded. It's by Jason Kimberson. Let's load this sucker up. And then we load it into the printer and get everything queued up. Print, 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 print. That explosion was to cover for parts that I didn't film, like removing the supports, curing the parts, washing the prints, and now on to sanding to make everything silky, silky smooth. So I'm using 220 grit sandpaper. I've also added dancing astronauts to make this more entertaining. Wait. Don't forget to wear protection. Oh, and wash your prints after you finish sanding. Have you ever wanted to be a tagger, a gangsta? Now's your chance. Get some primer and start spraying away. Here's a quick painting montage to see how I wasted a few hours. Spray, spray, spray. And that's what we're doing with some spray paint. Okay. Come on. Check this out. We're gonna now fill in all the details on the parts. You might be wondering, didn't you just finish all the painting? This is a little different. This is where we fill in all the details that we missed from the base coat and the primer. Hi. Welcome, I'm Professor Rangefinder. And today what we're gonna be doing is installing this rangefinder onto this helmet. Step 1 is to widen the hole to make sure that the bolt will fit. Insert the rangefinder into the hole. That's it. Yeah, that's it. And now on to the 4 tools of cheesy weathering. Crusty brush. Wire brush. Sandpaper. And Tamiya's stuff. Together, they form the cheesy weathering tools. The underlying paint job is critical to making the weathering work. Each part was painted 2 to 3 times. The first layer is the base object, followed by a primer, followed by a base coat, and some parts have an additional color on top. So when you use sandpaper, depending on how hard you press, you can get to different layers of the paint. And what this does is it simulates real world damage, like if your face dragged on the asphalt. What the Tamiya stuff is basically weathering powder that you can just rub all over the objects. It's kind of like makeup, but instead of making yourself look prettier, you're making yourself look dirty. That way it gives that realistic feel. What crusty brush is, it's a brush you just haven't cleaned and you let the acrylic paint dry up and crust on it. To use this, all you need to do is get the brush and dab it into some paint. This pattern here is the pattern that will be brushed onto the object, simulating dirt. If you use white, in our case, it will simulate paint chipping. What wire brush does is effectively the same thing, but instead of adding paint, it actually scrapes off the paint. So what I did was I weathered every piece that you saw in the kit, and this is what it finally ends up looking like. So what we're gonna do next is assemble the figure. We're gonna take that naked body that we had earlier and slap on some clothes. Once we have the clothes on, we turn it around, zip it up, and then we set the body aside. This kit uses magnets to keep the backpack attached to the clone armor. So here what we're doing is gluing the magnets to the back of the backpack, and also the back. Once that's in, you can see that they actually stay together quite nicely. There's something different about ARC troopers. They're actually really into summer fashion. So one of the things that makes them stand apart is they have these really awesome looking skirts. So here we have some gross grain ribbon. We use the ribbon to make belt loopings on the side of the skirt. To do that, cut it down to the right size, use the waist to fit it and cut it appropriately, glue or tape it onto the back of the belt. What you could do to make these skirts is cut them out normally. But I'm no caveman. What I'm gonna use is my tactical advantage and use machines where needed. So this is a cry-cut machine, and it's usually used for like arts and crafts, but for me, I'm gonna turn it into a slicing dicing machine to cut out all the patterns. And after they're done cutting, we do this thing called whittling, which is separating out the excess vinyl from the cut. And then we repeat the same process for the borders of the skirt. To get the vinyl to stick, we use an iron. And while we wait for the heat transfer, we strike our best Iron Man pose. Once that's done, we separate the film, and then we repeat the process for the outline of the comma. We now have a completed skirt. Repeat the same process to make the second side of the skirt. Then get some Tamiya stuff and dirty up the commas so that it has that weathering effect. Glue together the waist parts, get some gaffer tape, and securely mount the comma to the body. Tack together the belt, and then make sure that everything is secure. And then we mount the ammo pouches and the holsters. Here are some final shots of the waist area fully assembled. Guess who got a green screen? And now we can relive Lion King. Mufasa! What I'm doing here is now installing the rest of the armor. Putting on the arms, I'm gonna do it on both sides, but we didn't record that. Don't judge, I was watching Highlander 2, The Awakening. I'm assembling the legs. Assembling the chest, putting on the shoulder pads, and then popping that on the body. Flapping on the backpack, putting in the pouches, popping in the guns. The final two touches. Oh shoot, I forgot I had to paint the antenna. Putting on the pauldron, putting on the head. So the moment had finally arrived. It was time to call the professional toy raider. And with that, I first explained exactly what was going on with the build, showed him a few pictures, and then it was time for him to speak.
Honestly, I mean, dude, the armor and the way you do things is just amazing. I mean, you got me really down the rabbit hole doing custom. And when I look at this one, I'm just like the color and everything. I'm about to cricket because.
Ugh, he was supposed to be mean. I need drama in this video. Now who's gonna watch this stuff?